My name is Leah Carter. I am 29 years old and have lived in Silver Lake, California for most of my life. I love my job as an audio and home theater installer, and I work for a great company run by a supportive boss named Steve. Steve is the kind of leader who values honesty and hard work. He always backs up his employees if we make mistakes and encourages us to own up to them. He is also firm with difficult customers, helping to smooth over any conflicts that arise. Because of this, I have gotten pretty good at managing installation projects, from placing televisions to setting up sound systems. I enjoy the challenge and creativity it brings, but then there was one installation that shook my world. I received a call from a customer I will refer to as Douche. He wanted a complete audio and visual setup throughout his massive house, which included both indoor and outdoor speakers and multiple televisions. The intricate cabling required for his home was clearly going to be challenging because of the solid stone and concrete walls. When I arrived to quote him, he was insistent on a price that was unrealistically low for the extensive work. After a lot of back and forth, we left, hoping we were done with that. But then, Douche called us back in a panic. He had a party coming up in just 2 days and needed music. Against my better judgment, we agreed to bump the price due to the extra effort, and he paid the deposit without much hesitation. When we began the installation on Thursday, it was like stepping into a storm. Douche contested nearly everything we did. Every speaker placement, every mounting point, he was unhappy and nitpicky. Hours passed, and we barely managed to install 2 rooms. I felt the tension rise as I realized we would not finish in time. When I explained that to him, he hurled insults and belittled my abilities. He told me I would never be successful like him because I lacked drive. His words cut deep, and I felt both furious and defeated. By Friday, Douche begrudgingly agreed to cut down the project scope to 4 rooms. I thought this would make things easier, but instead, he continued to argue over placements and wiring methods. To make matters worse, drilling through stone was incredibly labor-intensive. By the end of the day, we had mostly set up the rooms and tested the system. Douche seemed satisfied, so I allowed myself to breathe and went out for a drink with Steve, feeling I had made progress against the odds. But then Saturday morning came. Douche called me, screaming. He claimed the system was broken and that he would not pay the remaining balance because we failed him. He even demanded that we come back immediately to fix it. I was boiling inside. My patience wore thin as I picked up the phone to call Steve. I described the situation, and Steve was furious as well. He encouraged me to give Douche a taste of his own medicine, so I decided to put my plan into motion. Arriving back at Douche's house, I put on a calm front. I tested the system, and Douche nodded along as if everything were fine. But then, as I turned to the amplifiers, I slyly disconnected every wire in sight. I moved from speaker to speaker, ensuring nothing was connected. Douche remained oblivious, assuming I was doing some complex testing. When I finished, I turned off my work phone and walked out, feeling a rush of satisfaction flood through me. On Monday, Steve filled me in on the aftermath. Douche had called, fuming because nothing worked, and his big party turned into a silent disaster. Steve told him he would fix it, but only if Douche paid the remaining balance and an additional fee for the repairs. Douche, cornered, had little choice but to agree. Surprisingly, he ended up paying not only the remaining $2,500, but also a hefty $5,000 repair fee. When I returned to Douche's home once more, he was uncharacteristically polite, almost apologetic. I reconnected all the wires as if nothing had ever happened, took my payment, and left. As I drove away, I could not help but smile. Douche had fallen into his own trap, and it felt great to see justice served. From that day onward, I knew I would never let a customer walk over me again. Steve even said that if it ever happened again, I should cut the cables and ignore the customer. That was a lesson I would remember. It was not just about the revenge, it was about standing up for myself and knowing my worth. My world in Silver Lake was just a little bit brighter now. The moral of the story? Sometimes, a silent party teaches someone more than any words ever could.